Right. Good evening, people. My name is JR. I am the FR Gooner. I'm joined here by Farhan, a gunner since '96. How are you, mate? How are you? It's a pleasure to have you here, firstly.
Yeah, man. No, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me. I know yesterday we obviously planned to do this, but because of different commitments, it just completely crossed my mind. But no, it's really good to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me first and foremost, and I'm excited to get chatting with you about Arsenal. So let's do it, man.
Let's do this. Let's do this. It's been a crazy day today. Mourinho getting sacked and the European Super League. And also, obviously, we're on the back of the Fulham draw on the weekend. Let's start off with the European Super League. That's been hitting the news today. What's your thoughts about it, to be quite honest? How do you feel about it? You know, it looks like at the moment that Arsenal are due to be one of the, I think it's initial 12 teams that have committed themselves to this European League.
Yeah.
I think there's 20 in total. But 5 of them, I think is a case where 5 of them can kind of win the opportunity to get into the league, whereas 15 of them are kind of cemented within that league. How do you feel about it all?
This was all a massive shock to me because obviously yesterday when I was saying to you before we went live, the jam-packed day that I was having, I didn't have any time to really look over any football news or anything like that. I just about managed to watch the Arsenal game for the most part. But I went to sleep quite early on as well. So about 10:30, I was in bed. Woke up at 6 a.m. Needed to go to the toilet. Looked through my phone, and I'm seeing
it's popping off.
It's popping off. I'm seeing the Super League has been formally announced. I'm seeing Arsenal releasing a statement, and I couldn't go back to sleep after that. I was in shock. I was in utter shock, and it was a case of, for me, it felt like as if a family member had passed away. It felt like I was in the process of, because I haven't experienced a death in my family. Thankfully, touch wood. My great grandma literally just passed away. Some of my grandparents have passed away, but they're back home, so it's not, the connection isn't as close as, for example, if one of my own relatives here would pass away. But this was very, very, very saddening, frustrating. I'm still getting over it, and I don't think we will anytime soon get over it. It's one of those things where this will unfold as the days go by. I think fans are sort of, it's the reality of it is beginning to become a little bit clearer, because I think for the most part of today I was just a bit numb and a little
kind of lost you there,
and very shocked as well. Sorry, I said I couldn't quite believe that this thing that which has been drip fed to us for the good part of the last decade, something that we were only able to access on Wikipedia. This wasn't a thing. This wasn't an official thing anyway. It was all hearsay, rumors. It was all, a few elite members discussing. Arsene Wenger made a few comments about it as well, but none of this was supposed to ever happen. And now that it has, it's like, whoa. It's like, hold on a minute. This is just in the space of 48 hours. How is that possible? But obviously you get reading into it a lot more as well, and you obviously find out there is a lot of politics behind it, and just the fact that Arsenal released it on their website, there is a proper official statement. It just hits home. It really does hit home the hard-hitting nature of what is going to happen.
I think you hit on one word there. You said elite, and right now as an Arsenal fan, I don't know how you feel, but in 9th position, drawing, no disrespect to Fulham, but drawing with them at home, I don't feel elite, So for me, it kind of is a bit weird, to be quite honest. The fact that we would be in a league where, it's meant to be about the elite football teams in Europe, we'll be given this opportunity, but we're not playing like an elite football club, For me, I like you said, it felt like a death in the family. It was weird because I saw a lot of fans unifying in the negativity towards the European Super League. And it doesn't seem like anyone really wants it to happen, if I'm honest with you, apart from Obviously, well, the owners, to be quite honest. It seems like the way they try to describe it is it's for the fans or something that we're going to move for. It's great for football, but really it seems to kind of line the back pockets of these board of directors and these people that are owning the football teams.
This is what surprises me more than anything. Do these people think that the people that are watching football are idiots? We can clearly see that the only justification, the only explanation for a super league to be created is for monetary gain. It's for financial gain only. There is nothing to do with what the fans want, nothing to do with developing football. You have developed a closed shop, a members only club for 15 clubs, and they call it the European Super League, which is, by the way, comprised of only 3 countries. So how do you call that a European Super League? Number one. Number two, it is based on the fact that these 15 clubs will be there season in, season out. There is no qualification needed. There is no promotion or relegation. There is you don't need to hit any targets in order to get into this elite competition. Now, I've got no problem if you decide to establish a new competition, because football's about competing. But once you remove the competition aspect of things, then what is football? What is the purpose of the sport?
I mean, that's it. In terms of competition, we've seen great things in the Premiership. We've seen, the likes of Leicester coming and winning the Premiership, qualifying for the Champions League. We're seeing West Ham right now in qualification positions for the Champions League. And to have a kind of league where 15 teams are cemented there, you're right. It takes away from the competitiveness of the sport. And it kind of seems like, these American sports like NFL, like NBA, etc., where you've got the playoff system, got the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference, and, the top 3 or whatever from each conference play each other in the next round. And that's not us, that is not how that's not what our football's based on, to be quite honest. I love the fact that,
I don't understand this Americanization, this obsession of trying to be like America. With all due respect to the MLS, it is BS. It is dog shit. The MLS will never be an established soccer, as they like to call it, league, tournament, whatever you want to call it, in the world. Football derived from Africa, but the football, in the way that we see football today, grew in Europe. Okay, people watch European football around the world. People don't look at the MLS. So I don't understand why these clubs have decided that, and it's bad enough having, a members only tournament, but why would you make it in such a way where it's so exclusive that it takes away it takes the joy away from watching a game of football? Do you really want to see Real Madrid versus Arsenal every single season, twice a year?
And that's what I was thinking. To be quite honest, for me, firstly, I don't want to be playing Real Madrid because we're not good enough right now. And if you play them every week, it's an absolute nightmare. But also as well, no, I think one of the great things about the Champions League was that you qualify, you get the opportunity to play these teams once in a while, but it's once in a while. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not every week in, week out. I don't mind playing the likes of Burnley, Wolves, or having the local derbies against Tottenham, etc., as a local derby. I love that. In terms of the reasons why, I think it's clear. If you don't get relegated, you don't lose money. I'm hearing talks of, I think in the Champions League, for participating, you get about 110 million pounds, roughly about that. For this, they're claiming, about 350 million pounds per club. So it's about money. It's literally about money. And to be quite honest, I expect nothing less. We know the Glaziers, Stan Kroenke, John Henry. It's all about money. This is their this is how they make their money. I don't really feel they actually care for the game of football, so to speak. It's a business for them. And by creating this European Super League is a way of kind of more financial gain. It's literally greed. And if you look at the people, I mean, it's JP Morgan who I've heard are actually funding it. But also as well, I understand that, you know, in terms of the people that have been pushing this, it's the three, the Arsenal owner stand, it's the Glaziers, and John Henry for Liverpool, and also obviously Real Madrid as well. Florian Perez pushing this as well. Yeah, so it's literally about money, which is unfortunate. It felt like a shot in the back, to be quite honest. And the thing is, I kind of felt, like you said, it felt like a background thing that will never really happen. You know, I've heard Wenger talk about it. I was thinking it's not really going to happen. But then now they're talking like it's potentially due to happen next summer.
In August, yeah.
Yeah, in August, you know. They're talking about UEFA seem to be fighting back. And this not getting twisted. UEFA are corrupt as well. You know, it's the lesser of two evils.
But can I just say, you know, I totally understand that UEFA have their flaws and they have many things that are wrong with them, and you know, there've been many a times where they haven't acted. We only need to look at the other day against Slavia Prague. The guy got a 10-match ban. And for me, that's not good enough. If a racist is found as a racist, you have to ban them for life. It's as simple as that. Otherwise, you're sending a message out there for people to say, you know what? This behavior is something which isn't acceptable, but we can handle it. And we can allow this person to come back
100%.
into our space, into our sphere. And again,
to give Glenn Kamara a ban as well, 3-match ban. For what, mate? Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Exactly. But I was just gonna say on using that example, UEFA might be many things. They might be corrupt. They might They might not distribute the pot of money equally. But I'll tell you what UEFA has preserved, which this Super League will never preserve, and that is giving every team an equal chance of winning the tournament and entering it.
Yeah,
maintaining the level of competition. If there's no competition, then what is the point of football, and what is the point of us fans getting passionate about supporting our club?
Yeah.
Because what happens to Arsenal now? Next season, when they start the Premier League campaign all over again, what are they playing for? They're not playing for top 4 anymore.
Yeah.
Certainly not top 5. Certainly not trying to win the league. Because if they are having to play week in, week out in this new European Super League, A, they don't have the squad big enough to do that. And number 2, if they do have the squad big enough, which squad is going to take preference over the Premier League? Is it going to be the stronger squad or the weaker squad?
Yeah.
If I was Arteta, you know, I definitely want to save my strong players to play against the Europe's elites, you know, especially if you're the underdog, if you're going into it as one of the weaker sides.
Yeah. Well, I'm hearing right now as well, it's quite recent that maybe this week, Chelsea, Man City, Real Madrid maybe drop from the Champions League. I don't know how true that is, to be fair.
So I think what's going to happen is these lot are going to have meetings. UEFA are going to have meetings. Premier League are going to have one tomorrow, and whatever they decide will go. And you know, it seems like the president of UEFA said today, in very, very in the harshest of ways, you know, they are going to find the harshest penalties for these clubs that have decided to leave, because they left the commission today, the UEFA commission. They all 12 members resigned, and that is a clear statement to say to UEFA, this is us out. If the statement wasn't big enough, us moving distancing ourselves away from you will, and so that's going to piss UEFA off a lot. Very much so. And so I do see the harshest penalties being given, and I won't be surprised if teams like Arsenal, City, Chelsea are knocked out, and you have the case, you have PSG ultimately being crowned champions, or them playing, because what's the other team that they're playing in the semi-finals? They're playing
is it Man
City are playing Chelsea. And City aren't playing Chelsea. City are playing PSG, and Chelsea are playing who?
Mate, it's gone from my head.
Yeah, I can't remember who it is.
Real Madrid.
Yeah. Is it Real? Yeah, Real Madrid. Okay, but Real Madrid are also part of that. Okay, so fine. So PSG will be PSG will be crowned champions.
It's been a long
and then
time
it
since
will have to be-
since we've been in the Champions League. That's sorry. I do apologize, people. You know?
No. Yeah. It's true. And look, and the stark reality of it is Arsenal will never be able to play in the Champions League again. They'll never be able to play in the Europa League again. And that's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because all we have known throughout our lives is that the Champions League and the Europa League or the UEFA Cup are the two elite competitions that clubs strive for. When we play in the Premier League, if we're not Man City or Chelsea, we're ultimately trying to make sure that we solidify our place to play in the Champions League and we get as far as possible. And one day, if we have a squad good enough, like we did in 2004, then we can ultimately go and try and win it. But all of that has been scrapped now. And I don't know where the club go from here. I'd like to know what Edu says. I'd like to know what Arteta says. But ultimately, I'd really like to know what Vinay says. Because as the CEO of Arsenal, he needs to be at the forefront and he needs to be adding a little bit more than that shoddy one paragraph about, oh, we're going to try and finish the season the best we can. I need to hear more from this guy and I need to know what your justifications are for putting us into this shoddy tournament.
Do you know what? To be quite honest, I already know what his justifications are. It's literally money, to be quite honest. And he's a puppet for Stan. You know, this is what I feel that this is what the Americans want to kind of do. You know, this is their reason. They had a long-term vision with these clubs, you know, and it was to make money. And this is what they did, and they want to make more money. And this is why they're kind of promoting it and pushing it forward. I kind of feel, I mean, I saw Klopp came out and he was very firm in actually saying he's not for it. I respect it. Bayern Munich obviously don't want to take part in it. PSG as well, and Dortmund and all the German clubs. Arteta, I kind of feel sorry for him because I think with Klopp, I feel that he's in a position where you've won the Champions League, you've won the league. So you kind of, for Liverpool to get rid of him, even if he is outspoken and vocal, is a difficult thing to do. However, with Arteta, I think he's at early stages of his managerial career with Arsenal. So for him to really speak out, it's a difficult situation. You know, you're speaking out against your bosses.
It'll be interesting to see what he says, though, because Arteta strikes me as a person of principles.
Yeah,
you're forgetting he comes from the school of thought, the Barcelona school of thought. He is disciplined, and also he was coached under Pep Guardiola. Now, someone like Pep Guardiola is, you know, football orientated. This guy doesn't really. He's not really bogged down with money and, you know, whatever comes with managing a club. So, but you can understand with City and Chelsea, they're an exception because they bought their way to the Premier League. So I don't expect nothing less from these types of clubs. But from United, Liverpool and Arsenal, this is a different story. So from Arteta's point of view, he's obviously going to be in the spotlight on Wednesday whenever they do his press conference. But at the end of the day, it's not his responsibility to be answering to any of these questions. At the end of the day, we need to see the higher ups. And also, where is Stan's son? Where is he? Because I remember in the summer he was all over the place. I remember in the summer, you know, what was the phrase that he said? He was, I'd be excited, be excited. That was his catchphrase, wasn't it? That was his motto. So where are the ownership? Where are the ownership now? Now we know for a fact, even before this, that the ownership never cared. So they've never put their
money. They haven't put their money in the back pocket. Their hand in the back pocket for Arsenal.
But this just affirms it to me. And so the fans have two options now, because we really are at crossrail. People might think, oh, you know what? This is one of those things, it will blow over, or we're just going to have to get used to it. No, I have never experienced a time in my life where football has stood still and has united in one direction. Yeah. We can, if we want to, we can get rid of this competition. We can put our foot down and we can make a difference here. But it's a question of whether we are complacent and we accept it, or we stand up and we say, you know what? We want our football clubs back and we want it to be this way, because the fans are ultimately what make football. It's not about the money. It's not about the players. It's not about the owners. Without fans, and this is a very good point to make, actually. Without fans, this is why the Super League is happening, because fans aren't around and because clubs need to make drastic moves like this. It's funny, isn't it? Swiss Ramble, a very good Twitter account, Swiss Ramble, I don't know if you heard of it, but he basically publishes Arsenal's financial reports whenever they come out. And so he reported today earlier, I I've gotten rid of it from my phone, but he basically reported that these 12 clubs that have signed up to the Super League are in debt. They're in big debt. I think altogether it amounts to about 12 point something billion pounds in debt. Now, isn't it a coincidence that the European Super League, just for signing up, you get 340 mil, and with that money you're able to wipe out all your debt and you're able to re-establish yourselves. That's just a bit of a coincidence for me.
Yeah, sad times, man. Sad times. But on a better note, Mourinho today, sacked.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. He's definitely a character, but you know, I don't really have it since he was disrespectful to Wenger. I don't really have no love for Mourinho, if I'm honest with you.
Likewise.
Yeah, but how do you feel about it with Tottenham losing their manager just before the is it the Carling Cup final they're due to play in, etc.?
A week before, and this is another a coincidence. You know, all of a sudden Tottenham Hotspur are in the European Super League, and a day later they sacked Jose Mourinho.
Yeah,
this is a team that was being dragged down into the mud for the last 3 or 4 months. This isn't something we've been seeing now. We've been seeing this from Tottenham. We've been seeing this from Mourinho. Dinosaur football. You know, this is the manager who's been regressing for the last few years at his last few clubs. He doesn't know how to play catch up with these managers, with these new dynamic 100%. Managers like Pep Guardiola, and I'll even put Mikel Arteta in the picture there as well, because I believe these guys are changing the way that football is being played. Whereas Mourinho is sticking with his old ways, and it's not working out. And Tottenham could have sacked him before, but now Daniel Levy has got that money to reinvest into his squad and get a better manager in. So who knows what the justifications are about getting rid of Mourinho, whether it was down to poor results or whether it was down to the fact that all of a sudden they've been dropped with this amazing bit of fortune. And by the way, you know, the Super League was decided in the last 48 hours. This isn't something where many clubs knew was happening instantly. It's when UEFA proposed to release their enhanced and developed structure on Monday. They were supposed to release it today. As soon as clubs found out, they said, right, we need to fast track this thing and we need to get it released as soon as possible. So club A, B, C, D, E, are you in or are you out? And Tottenham, being Tottenhm, not winning any trophies. And again, I don't understand the idea of having Tottenham in this tournament. It makes no sense. But anyway, Tottenham get this offer. They're like, okay, we have to take this. If we don't take this, we're going to be left behind and we're going to continue being this side that tries to win trophies, this joke club.
Sideman team. That's what I call them.
Meme club. Yeah, sideman. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And so Tottenham, they caved in. Daniel Levy caved in. He saw the bit of money and he said, right, we can get rid of all of our debt using this money and we can get a new manager. So what they do a day later, they get rid of Jose Mourinho a week before they're about to play a final. Is there any worse time to get rid of a manager?
That didn't make sense to me at all, to be quite honest. But even to be quite honest, I didn't understand, like you said, like he's been going backwards, Mourinho, for a long time now, a number of years. It's ironic that this is famous word specialist in failure for the last how many years he's been the specialist in failure. I saw a report today that he's in terms of the amount of sackings he's had, he's earned nearly 100 million through getting sacked, which is not a bad failing, to be quite honest. I would take that too, if I'm honest with you. But to be quite honest, it was quite a shock for me that they've kind of sacked him now. But he's been failing for a long time. I don't know why they went with him. I don't understand why I think Pochettino, I thought he's a good manager, to be quite honest. Obviously they didn't quite do it, but and obviously there was issues in the camp, but Mourinho wasn't a guy. I heard that hearings are that he lost a lot of the camp before he got sacked as well. There was rumors that
it was the same at United as well.
always. I mean, Dele Alli, for example, I haven't seen that guy for years. But yeah, I mean, it's good for us, to be quite. I don't really care for Tottenham, if I'm honest with you. Mourinho will find another opportunity, he'll find another job. But it's interesting. What I've realized is like with Wenger, for example, I felt that it was his time to go. I loved Wenger, but it was his time to go, and football had moved on. And I have to say with Mourinho, football's moved on as well. You know, in the way his style of football, etc. It's moved on from there. It doesn't work anymore, so to speak. So yeah, everything's moving forward. And good luck to the guy, to be quite honest. Hopefully they don't win in the final next week.
Listen, Tottenham will do a Tottenham. In the words of Tierney, it's the history of the Tottenham. You know, they'll get to another final. They'll take their second place medal home. They'll probably take a picture with it, like Lucas Moura did. Relive the memories of winning the Audi Cup and move on.
Yeah,
you know?
No, 100%. Let's hope that's the case. I don't want to see them win anything, to be quite honest. But listen, let's talk a bit about Arsenal though, man. I mean, as you know, it's difficult being an Arsenal supporter. We had the highs of last week, obviously beating Slavia Prague in the quarterfinals. Great, we played well. Great victory as well. Then it should have been a formality against Fulham. And then we go and draw it, you know. Lacazette gets injured as well. Disappointing, to be quite honest. I mean, I'm not sure how you're feeling, but especially with the Lacazette situation as well. That I think that for me, that hurt the most, to be quite honest. With him getting injured now. How are you feeling? Deflated, or how do you, in terms of us moving forward? How can we progress now? What who would you play if Lacazette is injured, as we think? I think malaria is one of those things where you can't recover too quickly as well. So Aubameyang may be out. Would you play Eddie up front against Villarreal, or would you play Martinelli? How would you do it?
Well, back when football mattered, Slavia Prague was a great victory.
Yeah.
And we would have been looking forward to the game against Villarreal, and we would have been, jumping for joy at the opportunity of beating Unai Emery. But now, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, the game against Fulham, you're right, should have been a formality. And I tweeted, I put out a tweet when the starting lineup came out, and I said, is Arteta underestimating Fulham here? Because when I was looking, and I did a video a couple months, maybe a month ago, and it was titled, "Can Arsenal finish top four?" And basically, what I was doing is I was looking through the last 10 games that Arsenal had in comparison to Chelsea, Liverpool, basically the other rivals. And the games that I picked out, which were going to be quite difficult, quite tricky for us, was Liverpool, West Ham, and Fulham. I still think we can beat Chelsea, but I don't know, under Tuchel now, they look a little bit more solid, so they look a little bit difficult. But I think a lot of people underestimate how good Fulham have become.
You thought Fulham was going to be a difficult match, yeah?
I did. I genuinely did. I'll tell you why. Yeah. Because Fulham have something to play for. Up until Newcastle beating West Ham, they were only 6 points behind. And the last few results, they were putting in some really good performances.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
With players like Lamina and Lookman, and Anguissa, these were players that were starting to really develop, and they were getting the best out of them. At the beginning, it took them a lot longer for some reason, but the way that Scott Parker has developed this team, they play football in a very intense and quick fashion. They like to get the ball up the pitch as quickly as possible. But against Arsenal, there was too much quality that we had where we should have beaten them in the first half. And, that goal,
100%.
I think, who was it? Smith Rowe who scored, or who was it? Someone who scored and then it was offside.
Tobias put in the back, and it was great, good header. Yeah.
It was a very good goal. Yeah, very well worked goal. But the toenail was offside, and then afterwards, I think Martinelli gets ahead of Ceballos, who would have put it into the net. You had the first 2 minutes. Martinelli had an opportunity; he could have scored. So look, there were amples of opportunity in that game to end Fulham. But it's about taking your chances. And Arsenal's 100%. Story this season has been not taking the chances. As good as the football has been, and there's no question that Arteta has improved us as a footballing side. We have looked a lot comfortable playing from the back. We have looked a lot more comfortable progressing the ball from midfield into the final third. But it's that little bit of last bit of quality that is missing. Whether it be Lacazette or Aubameyang, I don't think we have a finisher up front. A finisher who is consistent enough to score 20 to 25 goals. And now
I think Aubameyang, to be fair, is well, he's not on form this season, but he's a finisher. That's the only thing he does do, in my opinion, if I'm honest with you. But outside of that, Lacazette, and Martinelli. Martinelli's got a lot to learn, although I have faith in him. Lacazette's been good this season, but you're right, he hasn't been clinical. I mean, the other day, I think he's reached 50 goals, but it's taken him like 4 seasons to get there. Like, you know, that's not good, to be quite honest. But yeah, I mean, for me, I just kind of felt that what was highlighted is that we don't have that squad. So where we've got a team that can go out in the Europa and kind of put on a performance like they did the other day, you know, we put out the second string and play El Nene and Ceballos in the center of midfield, and it doesn't really work. They're not really good enough to finish off teams like Fulham. I agree with you. Fulham do give good performances. I do agree with you, but really and truly, especially in that first half, it should have been finished anyway.
It should have been all of them.
I mean,
I was surprised that Arteta played Xhaka at left back as well. I mean, I get it that he's been putting in a great performance for the last 2 games. I get that, and it's all good. It's all good and well having him there. But wouldn't you rather see Granit Xhaka in the middle, where he is being so good this season, and put Cedric at the back there against someone like Fulham? You'd want to, you'd want to sort of flex your attacking muscles a little bit more.
Yeah. I think he's trying to get him prepared. He's obviously probably going to do that in Europe and the semi-finals. And I think he's trying to prepare him in that position. I agree with you, though. Cedric could have played in that position. I was surprised with the fact that Bellerin's due to go. I was kind of surprised that Bellerin actually started, to be quite honest, and started as captain. That was a shock to me, to be quite honest. You know, Fabrizio Romano is kind of saying that he's basically gone. Why put him as captain? That, you know, I would have rather put Xhaka. I know we had our issues in the past, or Lacazette maybe, you know. But yeah, that shocked me, to be quite honest. But yeah, poor performance. I mean, and it wasn't for me, it wasn't a penalty. I thought we were robbed, but like you said, if you don't finish your opportunities, this is what happens, and that's exactly what happened. So is Europa qualifying for Europa in the league? Is that done for then?
Listen, like I said, with this bombshell news today,
it doesn't even matter no more, does it?
It literally doesn't even matter. Like whether we finish 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th, 12th, whether we finish 17th, and even I don't even know what the ruling is. If Arsenal, you know, in a crazy fantasy world, if they get relegated from the Premier League, what happens? Are they still in the Super League? Because as founding members, you know, it says it in the rule book, and they'll be playing season in, season out. So what happens then?
Absolutely,
you know what I mean?
Ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous, man. It's definitely a shock, man. It will be interesting to see how this unfolds, because you can see obviously
tomorrow will be the most interesting day, because tomorrow the Premier League have their meeting. So what sanctions are they gonna put on clubs? Because if I was a Premier League, I'll be putting 15 points deduction on each club. And they won't be able to play for the rest of the season. That's the way that I would do it. But let's see, because I think the Premier League ideally need all of these clubs in order for the finances to work out properly. In order for the Premier League as a business to function, they're gonna need these top 6 clubs. Without them, what's the Premier League?
They were even saying that in terms of the nationals, they were saying, you know, if you play in this European Super League, you're not going to be able to represent your country in the nationals. But my thinking, again, like you're saying, they need these clubs. If you get rid of the likes of, I don't know, Ronaldo, for example, or the big star names, and they're not seen in the nationals, you're kind of hindering your competition, like, you know. So you kind of need these players. So they have to come to an agreement that kind of suits both parties. I'm hoping, to be quite honest, that this European Super League is kind of put to the background again. But you know what? The great philosopher did tell us a number of years ago this was going to happen. Mr. Wenger, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, trusted Wenger, and exactly what he said was going to happen has happened. But we'll find out. We'll be interested to see what happens, what unfolds. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. And it's going to be a tough battle, to be quite honest.
Quick question for you though. Where do you stand as an Arsenal fan? Because let me tell you how the way that this news has hit me. Like I don't really know how to support my club anymore. I don't feel like if I'm watching an Arsenal match, for example, when I'm going to watch Arsenal versus Everton, I don't know how I'm going to be watching that game. Usually, I'll be on the edge of my seat, analyzing the game, making sure that Arsenal are trying to do everything they can to win that game. But now, I don't know whether I can support Arsenal throughout 90 minutes of football.
Yeah. But you know what? It's been difficult to support Arsenal all season, if I'm honest with you. But with this bombshell, where do I stand? For me personally, I'm just hoping that this is all a big dream, or you know what? They're trying to put the feelers out. They're trying to push things through. But hopefully, and I hate to say it, but I don't want it to. I want UEFA, who I know are corrupt as well, but they need to put their clause in and say, look, this ain't happening, to be quite honest. I love the game as it is right now. I love the grassroots of it all. I love the fact that a team can come from the Championship.
Brentford.
Yeah.
MK Dons. Southampton. Leeds. Bournemouth. These are teams that dreamt of playing in the Premier League. Hull City. Remember Hull City?
Yeah.
These are Burnley. These are teams that dreamt. Imagine you're in League Two.
Yeah.
You're in League Two and you're playing football, and one day the hope is to reach the promised land, the Premier League.
Yeah.
And you reach it.
Exactly.
Where is that feeling in the Super League? Where?
Nah, for real.
All of that is done. It's finished.
Well, now they're saying that 5 of you will get the opportunity to play in it. It's like, get out of there, to be quite honest. You know what I mean? I feel sorry for West Ham, to be quite honest, because you know, they're looking really good. They've done really well to get to the position that they are.
What about Leicester?
Leicester as well.
FA Cup finals. They've won the Premier League.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to them?
Yeah. Exactly. They're not considered a big club, you know. And that's the thing. We haven't done nothing big in the last few years, to be quite honest. So we don't really deserve it. And that's the thing. I don't like getting something and I haven't deserved it. We don't deserve to be in this position, you know. It's only because we've got a lot of we're a big team, so to speak, in terms of monetary and in terms of the number of fans we've got around the world,
history and stuff.
History, etc. But right now we're not elite. We're not playing elite football, you know. We're in 9th position in the Premiership, you know. We're behind Everton, we're behind West Ham. It's poor at the moment, to be quite honest. So I just hope it's a big dream. I just hope that this doesn't go through. I hope that it gets pushed back. I can't really see them actually getting it over the line for this summer. And it's going to destroy things like the European Championships, you know, the World Cups that are coming forward, etc. Like, I don't want this to kind of destroy football as it is, you know, because I love the game right now. I don't want to see a playoff or American style league. That's you know, this is not soccer, this is football, man. And this is how we play it.
Second question to that question: what do you do when you, let's say this all happens now, first night, Arsenal are playing their first game in the Super League? Like, as a fan, how do you react to that? Can you imagine yourself being there in that situation? The TV's on, Super League is on, Arsenal are going to play their first game. What is your instant sort of feelings, reactions to that, and how do you deal with that situation?
Well, it's a very good question. It's a weird one because ideally I wouldn't even want to watch it, to be quite honest, because I don't want it to get that far. You know, I think if we don't want it to go forward, then we have to turn off. And and we have to really unify in what we're trying to do, you know. Let's make a stand. Like this shirt, like no more shirts. Don't buy no more shirts from them. We don't want them to make any money. We don't like this, you know. We don't want it to go forward. Let's not go halfway across Europe to go and watch these matches, you know. I just don't support this. But it's a catch-22 because, you know, my first love is Arsenal. Do you know what I'm saying? So to say it is an easy thing, but to actually do it and you know, switch off the TV when we're due to play, I don't know, Barcelona in this European Super League is another thing, to be quite honest. What we need to do is actually not support it, to be quite honest, and back away from it. And the way to not support it is not to put money into it, not to financially support it, to be quite honest, because at the end of the day, all they care about is money. You take away the money, they'll start listening. If not, they're not going to listen. It's unanimous that everyone is saying, fans from across all teams, you know, we're unifying with Tottenham supporters, Man United supporters, etc., all saying we don't want to do it. So we have to have a stand and say, do you know what? Let's back away from there. Let them play in. Let Stan play up front in this European Super League. Against Mr. Glazier, you know, because and hopefully the players make a stand as well, to be quite honest. I mean, I saw today that obviously the Leeds team were actually having their t-shirts up. Yeah. So that, you know, certain players are not with it as well. Hopefully the players that are due to be in the Super League will make a stand as well and unify. We have to unify, you know. We can't, your question was like, what do you do if the situation arises when we're in this league? We have to stop it from getting there. Because once it's there, it's too late, bro. It's too late. The money's won, to be quite honest. So hopefully we'll see how this unfolds. It's sad times, to be quite honest. Listen, one final question I've got for you is Arteta. Let's go back to how football is right now. Arteta against Emery. Has Arteta got the beating of Emery? Even with the situation with Lacazette injured, Aubameyang's out.
If it happens, I think Arteta has enough in his locker to beat any manager. I say that with a lot of confidence as well, because he's proven it. He proved it last year in the FA Cup semi-final and the finals. He's proved it this season playing against some of the top 4 clubs as well. This guy knows his football. Now, he might not be getting the results that we want, and we're sitting 9th for a reason, because we're bang average in terms of how we're trying to grind out these results. But no one can tell me that the football hasn't been developing, because if you think back to the beginning of the season, Arsenal couldn't play from out the back. They were making mistakes left, right, and center. Most of the goals that were being conceded were down to our own mistakes. Yeah. But when you rewatch games at Slavia Prague, or games even against Fulham, or even against Sheffield United, playing out from the back has now become part of our DNA. So it looks so natural and so easy for us.
We're still making a few mistakes with that. I feel like we once in a while, and that's one of our issues. But I agree with you. He is definitely improving us.
But something that I love about Arteta, though, is that he does his homework really well, and he doesn't set up his team the way he wants them to play. He sets up his team depending on who they're playing against. Yeah. So if you're playing against, I don't know if you remember Southampton, they beat us in the FA Cup, and then in the Premier League we spanked them, because Arteta got the experience of playing them in the FA Cup, so he got a real idea of how they play. And then we played their game against them in the Premier League. High intensity, high pressing, always being the first to the ball. And we beat them. We beat them very comfortably. And so it's going to be a case of Arteta just learning on the job. And there's no other way to dress it up. This is his first job. The club has gone for someone who is brand new, who is, who has no experience, who is fresh out of the box. So they're going to have to give him time. The fan base are going to give him time, But one thing that I've noticed about Arteta is that he has the potential, because he's proven it. You're forgetting he won the FA Cup in his first season. Like, that's kind of a big deal. Yeah. And he's in the semi-finals of in his second season, semi-final of a European competition. Yeah. So there's clearly, progression at Arsenal, but it's taking a lot longer than what we expected.
Yeah, what we hoped. I agree. I'm keeping the faith in him. I think he's got the beating of Emery. Definitely. The only thing is, Emery does know a lot of the players. A lot of these players are Emery players, or players that he gave the opportunity. But I think Arteta, like he said, he kind of strategizes for each game, and I like that about him. So yeah, I think we've got to be in, even without Lacazette. I am worried about that. I would play Martinelli if Lacazette
I reckon they will play. But having said that, actually, Arteta does quite fancy Nketiah. Now, I know he hasn't played him in God knows how many months, but the games that he was playing in, despite not scoring goals or playing very well, it was quite consistent with Nketiah. I feel like naturally the best player to play in that position is Nketiah, but Nketiah is more of a finisher for me. His work rate is great off the ball. He's a little bit like Lacazette. He loves running up and down the pitch, but when it matters, getting that ball, collecting it, and trying to drive at the opposition defense and striking it in striking it on target. He's not really good at that. He's more almost like a target man. He picks up the
yeah,
ball.
He gets in the right places at the right time.
Yeah.
He gets in the right places at the right time, man. And yeah, but I'm not starting. Ideally, I'm not starting with Eddie, if I'm honest. I know he does like him, and he don't seem to like Martinelli. But nah. This is a big match. I'd rather play Martinelli, if I'm honest with you. But I don't want to be in that predicament. Unfortunately, I would rather, Lacazette obviously is fit, or Aubameyang comes back. But we'll see. You know, hopefully it all works out. Listen, I'm gonna end it there. It's been a pleasure to kind of speak to you today. Kind of since '96. Where can everyone find you?
So I've got a YouTube channel. You can find me on YouTube at Gunner since '96. I do usually release quite a lot of regular content, but obviously after the bombshell news that we received today, I don't know how I'm going to be approaching Arsenal content. Talking about, you know, the team tactics and all that kind of stuff seems a bit meaningless right now. So let's see how the situation develops, but I will be making content about Arsenal, and hopefully good news as well about scrapping this whole this new elite system. But also you can find me on Twitter. If you want to connect with me, if you want to get chatting with me, you can do. Drop me a DM, tell me how you're feeling about Arsenal, or because the whole reason how I started making Arsenal content was basically down to like my own mental health. Like, it was being destroyed by Arsenal, and I remember when we lost to Burnley in December, that was it for me. That was a tipping point. Losing to Burnley for me was like, no, I need to do something about this, because this is too much, man. And so I made the YouTube channel, I made the podcast as well. Talking to other like-minded fans as well was the best thing that I could have done.
Yeah. I always say to people, you know what? It's very therapeutic, because I'm a man who doesn't like losing. My family would tell everyone. And Arsenal have been doing it to me week in, week out, to be quite honest. But actually talking to other fans about the situation after, you kind of feel better. So it's definitely been therapeutic for myself as well. Listen, it's been a pleasure. Guys, ladies, if you want to hear more of this, please like, subscribe, share with your people. There'll definitely be more talks like this. Let's hope this Super League doesn't take place. But ladies and gentlemen, until next time, take care. Enjoy your evening.